Hello everybody, today we will make a giant Kinder Penguin that will weigh as much as 200 kilograms. But before we supersize it, we need to study it from the inside. Let's try it. Not bad, but the dark chocolate spoils everything. So, it has chocolate on the outside, then a little cake layer, white cream and chocolate ganache, and once again the same layers alternate. Let's start cooking the Kinder with the cakes. This time I found the yolks in bottles, and so we don't have to really separate tons of eggs by hand. Therefore we pour in 3 liters. We'll also put in 5.5 kilograms of sugar. And with the help of an industrial mixer, we will beat this all up until we're left with a creamy texture. Now you need the most ordinary oil. So pour out 2 liters of 300 milliliters. Cocoa will go next, 2 kilograms. Flour, 4.600 grams. 300 grams of baking powder. And 2.5 liters of water. Using the same mixer, knead our dough again. Now we'll use a more powerful setting for the thick dough. Done? Now it's time for the bottled egg whites. We'll pour them into the mixers. Each bowl contains about 250 grams of egg whites. That's it, let's start whipping. And just wait. Until our egg whites turn into foam. Now it's time to add some sugar. It'll strengthen the foam and it'll become way denser. After 5 minutes, the consistency is just what you need. Therefore, we take our whipped whites and put them into a saucepan with dough. The dough is pretty thick now, so therefore our task is to combine it with the foam to make it have some air bubbles. Carefully do this with a spatula. There we go, the first batch of egg whites is involved. Now we're going to start doing the second one. Then we mix a batch of egg whites into the dough, one after another for a long time. The super fragrant biscuit dough is ready. So let's take it outside. We need to make 2 thin cakes. So now we only pour half into the dough of the mold. We spread it out easily with a spatula. That's it, you can put the mold into our huge oven. And close the doors. And turn on the gas. We'll keep the temperature at 180 degrees. After 2 hours, you can take out the form. Then we realized that we'd forgotten to remove the clothespins that held the parchment on. Now they can only be thrown away. Alright, the most important thing is that the biscuit is cooked. And all we have to do left is turn it over carefully. We remove the parchment paper. And our biscuit turned out to be just perfect. Alright, so pour the dough in for the second biscuit. This time, remove the clothespins. And we'll pop that into the oven. After 2 hours, the second biscuit is also ready. Turn it over onto the plywood in exactly the same way. And remove the parchment. That's it, our 2 thin biscuit layers are ready. But we will need them a little bit later. And so now we need to prepare the mold. Spray it with the oil from a can. That way the parchment paper will stick easily. And we have to cover the entire form. Now we're going to need a Marmite. That way we can quickly melt some chocolate. Turn on the heat. And we'll stir this periodically. By the way, I changed only 1 point in the Kinder Pingui. I took milk chocolate instead of dark chocolate, because who even likes dark chocolate? That's it, the chocolate's melted. Now we'll take it out of the Marmite and pour it into the mold. While it's still liquidy, it needs to be quickly distributed with a spatula over the entire bottom of the mold. Done. And put the first biscuit on top of it with still liquid chocolate. Done. Immediately pour out the second portion of chocolate into the Marmite so that it already melts. Meanwhile, we'll transfer the mold to the freezer. As soon as the chocolate is melted, we'll go back to the freezer. We take a spatula and smear it over the walls. We need to make chocolate sides. A little bit later, we found out a more effective way to apply the chocolate to the walls is using a piece of plywood on a film. But in the end, it turned out to be the most effective just spreading chocolate with a gloved hand. Due to the fact that the mold is in the freezer, the chocolate freezes quickly and remains on the walls. And otherwise it would just drain. We wait for the chocolate to solidify and move on to the next stage. We'll need a lot of cream. This cream already has sugar in it. We open up the packages and measure out the right amount into a saucepan. 130 grams. We also add in some gelatin. 17 grams, and we'll put this on a still cold stove. Mix the gelatin with the cream so that it begins to swell. To make it a little faster, we will do this into 4 saucepans at once. Take another pack of cream and measure out half a liter. This is exactly the volume that we need to pour into each mixer. And now we whip the cream. These will be done as quickly as possible. After 5 minutes, we get a dense foam. Now it's time to turn on the stove to the max. And stir in our melted gelatin. Pour the contents of one saucepan into the mixer. The gelatin will make the cream more dense, so that way it's not crushed by the huge weight of our Kinder Pingui. You can turn this off after 1 minute. And we'll put all this cream into the mold. Spread it around with a spatula. And this needs to be done many, many more times. Half a day later, the first white layer is ready. It needs to cool down. We'll make some chocolate ganache. To do this, pour 5 liters of cream into a saucepan. And pop it on the stove. Now it needs to get really hot. Meanwhile, we'll do the chocolate. A tile weighing 5 kilograms should be broken into small pieces, and I'll do this with a hammer. And we're left with chocolate chips like this. And now we remove the hot cream from the stove and pour them over the chocolate. Now we stir it so that the chocolate begins to melt on the hot cream. And so that we're left without one single lump, we're going to blend this all with a blender. That's it, the chocolate ganache is ready. We're going to take this to the freezer and pour it into the mold. We're going to distribute it around so that it completely overlaps the white cream. Done. We close up the freezer. And half an hour later, the ganache froze. Therefore, you can proceed to the second layer of white cream. Ladies and gentlemen, our assembly line continues. Immediately put the second chocolate sponge cake on the cream. And melt some more chocolate. We need to cover the entire biscuit. This will be the bottom of our candy bar. Now our chocolate is set. You can finally take the mold out of the freezer. First, we prop up the form. Then we put a sheet of plywood on top. Wrap it with saran wrap so that the plywood is pressed as tightly as possible to our bar. And after turning the mold, we cut off the film. We don't need it anymore. We lift off the mold. And so here we had a tiny fail. It turns out that when moving the mold, the chocolate cracked. But it fell off in big chunks. So therefore, there is a chance to fix everything. To do this, apply liquid chocolate to the edge of the fragments. And just stick it back on where it fell off. We'll do the same thing with the other pieces as well. There are some places without chocolate on top of our candy bar, so we'll fill them out with a syringe. That's it. Despite the difficulties, we still are left with a Kinder Pingui weighing in at 200 kilograms. Let's take a look inside. Using a nail file, we'll make a marking for the cut. And using a machete, we cut off a piece. In my opinion, our giant Kinder Pingui looks like the packaging of the original one. Here is a layer of chocolate, sponge cake, white cream, chocolate ganache, again white cream, sponge cake, and chocolate. One on one, like the original. Let's try it all together. Thanks to the milk chocolate, our Kinder Pingui is even tastier than the original. We cut this 200 kilogram dessert and pack it into plastic wrap. And we load it up into the car. And we took this to the Women and Children's Home in need. Thanks to our packaging, they will be able to store this all in the freezer and have it out in portions whenever they need. So write your suggestions in the comments. How long will this take for the children to eat this entire huge Kinder bar? Of course, they tried this dessert and they really liked it. And if you get 200,000 likes underneath this video, then I will cook a giant Happy Hippo Kinder. Bye, everybody.